Is it working now?
Yes.
All right. Sometimes Zoom does that.
I need to check. I need to make Christine. Hopefully she will attend, right? Like,
Yeah, I think so.
to make her a host as well.
Yeah. Definitely, once she joins. Let's see what the RSVPs are up to.
Do you have a quick? Oh, here she is.
Also, if you make me host as well, I can also cross-reference the list of RSVPs.
Perfect. Yes, yes, great.
Okay.
Hi,
we have
guys.
95 RSVPs.
Amazing. Hi, Christine.
I'm so nervous.
Do you guys know how to make you host?
Yeah, I think you go to the participants and then you go to the specific name and then you press on more and then it should have that option.
Right. Now you have a waiting room, it looks like.
Yes, yes, I do, for sure.
So are you just going to be letting everybody in?
Yes,
I'm
I think
getting
so.
the
So
list.
that's why I think so.
I'm going to share with you.
It's very, so it says participants. When I click on participants, it says invite. So
Go to the chat. No, hold on. Participants.
oh, actually, okay. So here more, make co-host. Yes, Christine, you're the co-host now. So if you can, sorry.
Here. I'm
Okay,
sending the link with the RSVPs in the chat. Did you guys get it?
Yes.
Awesome.
Now, people that join in after us can't see that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I sent it now.
You made everybody else a co-host already, I think, Marina, did you?
Only you, Christine, and maybe because I have a CCNY.
I don't have the authority though as co-host to make other people host, it looks like. So you might have to do it to other people.
Let's see. So I can try to make.
Do it, I would say do it with the 5 people here right now.
Exactly. I tried to, when I set the link, I tried to do it, but
It's okay.
Yeah.
You're doing it now to tell. Thank you.
Of course.
I think you're recording already. Also.
Yes, I do. Because I don't want to forget later on, because then I get like flustered towards the end. So, and obviously I will cut
this out.
this part down. I will definitely get rid of it.
I have 2 important people ask me about recording.
Okay.
So.
I just saw that we can actually broadcast. So next time we can maybe do a YouTube or something like that. I mean, why not? Right? Not now. Yeah. This is gonna be I'll be way too nervous to work on that. Let me just email everyone to make sure we're all on the same page. Oh, guys, I'm so excited. I just checked their presentations. They're so amazing.
Oh, I had messaged. Oh, we just got another RSVP literally as we're sitting here. Are all the presenters sharing their own slides?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I will email everyone.
Authority to do that.
I just did that. I just enabled that.
Okay. Wait, so you enabled that anybody can take over the screen?
Yes. Is that not?
I wouldn't do that. Even though we have a waiting room, I don't know. I mean, that's the #1 way people Zoom bomb, is they start posting things on the screen. I'll share with you all. Biology commencement started with a guy showing his dick.
Oh.
Because we didn't have a way to, we had to keep it, and it was awful.
So what do I do?
You should. I think there can be a way that only co-hosts can share their screens, and then once the speakers come, just make them co-hosts too, so they can share.
Okay, so then I unclick
that.
that.
Completely violated when those things
obviously
happen.
Of course. Thank you for. So can you guys check one of the co-hosts? At this point, I think you guys are all co-hosts. Yes, you are.
I can. Yeah, I'm able to share.
Try to share to see whether it works. Yes, excellent, amazing.
Let me pull up the slides. Yeah. So Marilyn, I don't know if you've been on top of. I don't know when you sent out the last thing, but like. With the maximizing, with the woman making history one, like literally even as it started, people were RSVPing.
Okay, I'll just keep refreshing and just sending like every person individually, I guess.
I
want help with that, Marilyn?
It gets annoying.
It's okay. I can do it. I actually, can you check the Wynn's Gmail and just make sure I'm doing it correctly? Because now I'm like,
Yeah, I'll check it right now.
You guys have been so great. Marilyn and Sasha, you both just jumped on with like
Yeah. I got
guns blazing, I have to say. Thank you so much.
well, you guys make it easy. So,
Oh. Yeah, I've been getting them. The Gmail has gotten them too, so looks
Okay,
like it's
cool.
good.
okay. Yeah, so I'll just keep sending them then.
Yeah. At a certain point, I just started forwarding. I just like hit forward and did it to the people. But like, I think that was once it had already started.
Okay.
But we're up to 97, 96. That's so many.
It's okay, we can hold it.
Guys, what is the order of the presentations?
We were doing.
See, now in the waiting room, this
Yeah,
is what
there's
you do. I'm gonna send a chat to the person in the waiting room saying they have to show their name.
exactly perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very
I
much.
thought the order we were doing was going to be based off of the flyer.
Yes, can you tell me right now? Because I don't
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. So it would be Nina,
Yes.
then Kaliris, then Dee Dee, then Miss Stanley, and then me. Do you want me to type it to you privately?
No. I'll just.
Got it. Now there are so many.
I know that too. You could say it in the very beginning.
Yes.
Say first up is Nina, then it's Kaliris, then it's Dee Dee. You just say it in the beginning so that they know.
I will just email them now.
Now, who is going to be the person taking lead with letting people in from the waiting room?
So I will do it initially, but then after when I start talking, then you guys.
Yeah, same. I can also be on it until I start.
Okay.
There are people in the waiting room. One of them RSVP'd. The phone number, we don't know what that is.
You don't know who Karina George is?
No, she's on the list, the phone number one.
Okay. I'm admitting Karina then. I emailed the person in the waiting room telling them they needed to have their name.
So maybe I will just start sharing my screen with my presentation, which is just the first. And
That's Denise.
Yeah.
I love your headband, Denise.
yes, very pretty.
You're on mute, Denny.
Okay, can you guys hear me good? I want to make sure that everybody can hear me before we
Yes.
start.
Yeah, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let me change my name on this.
Then this should be on. Okay. You guys see my.
Yep.
All right. All right. So you take it from here, right? Like for the waiting room and everything.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I will, once I stop talking, then I can clearly go back. Mm-hmm.
I'm all about security. I'm gonna be like a gatekeeper.
Wait, can I send you guys this presentation so that you guys can screen it so I can see my notes and everything?
Yeah, sure. If you send me in, I'll do it.
Perfect. Okay, I'll email you right now.
Perfect.
You can let me know. Thank you. Marilyn looks so boss right now. She's on her phone, she's handling things. I love it. I'm gonna mute myself since I'm just gonna yap.
No, please do, because otherwise I don't like the silence before this, and I'm way too nervous.
Okay.
Please yap as much as you need.
Well, we're 4 minutes out. So
Sorry?
we're 4 minutes out. I wound up rejecting the admission for the person with the number because they would not change their name. So I'm just going to
Very
reject the names, the numbers.
Very good.
I dealt with 2 Zoom bombings. Denise was in one of them with me.
Yeah, she told us the other day.
They
Sephora,
showed
did you get the email?
I'm checking.
Last
check I didn't.
You feel I was
There we go.
both times they were Zoom bombing, and it's not going to happen here because we got full alert game security.
Exactly.
But both times afterwards, I felt like I cried. I'm not going to lie. I cried on off for the next day. It's totally disturbing.
Of course.
And then you think about it, right? Like it's, like one of the rules you tell people to live by is you do the same behavior that you would do online that you would do in person.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, then you think about it, but you know that there's some sick people that might do some of these things in person.
Yes, I mean, rarely it happens.
I'm opening it up, Marina.
Sorry?
I'm opening it up.
Perfect.
There we go. I'll share
Excellent.
it.
It's a beautiful day outside.
Right? I had
Really?
to go.
It's raining here.
It's pouring.
Well, I live upstate.
I thought you were sarcastic.
No, I live upstate. It's beautiful.
It's insane because I went like literally like around the corner to get a cake for my friend whose birthday is today, and I had to go. So I left the house right after taking a shower, and I had to come back and take a shower again because I was literally covered.
That's Maud. I know that person. It's beautiful up here.
Lucky you.
I live about 2 hours north, and it's
wow. The entrances are popping.
Yes.
So we put all their presentations on one slideshow, or they're all going to be shared. They're going to be sharing their own screens, right?
Everyone's sharing their own.
Everyone is sharing their own screen. Welcome, everyone. Okay, so now I'll just.
Okay.
All right. Now that all our speakers are here, maybe we should wait 1 more minute, max 2, to get a time to allow people in, and then we can start with our session today.
I think I sent you an email, Christine, and I didn't know that it was you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. What I can't see who is speaking at the moment.
Person in the dark space.
Oh, trying to see.
Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Miller?
Yeah,
Hi, hello.
with you.
You what?
I've been emailing with you.
I know who you are now. I can see you. It's nice to meet you digitally.
Yeah.
And I look forward to working with one another for many more years ahead of us. And some of which will be in person soon.
I hope so.
Maybe not soon enough, but soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying hello.
Of course. I was like, I know him. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so I took these 5 minutes to allow everyone to join, and again, people will come in as we speak, so we will take care of that. But I think we'll have to start now, and I'm very excited about our session today. I think I expressed my enthusiasm in several emails, but I cannot. I think I cannot express it enough. How grateful I am for everyone who's attending today, especially our speakers, which I will take the time to introduce them in a second. But before we go into that, I would like to, first of all, thank everyone who helped spreading the word about this event. One of the big problems that we have sometimes is to make our events popular, and we take this, I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who helped us spreading the word on social media via different channels or email and so on. So we appreciate that. Very quickly, some administrative notes. So as you notice, this session will be recorded. We're doing this to have these resources available later on. So we will upload this recording later on our website. So everyone who register will receive a link when the session is uploaded. And so we understand that some questions might be more delicate to ask in public. So in case you would need to ask a question in a more private setup, please do it by texting your question in the chat with me, Miruna Gina. Actually, now that I realized I didn't introduce myself, I just started very, very quickly. Hello, everyone. I am Miruna Gina Tegla. I am the Vice President of the CCNY Women in Science, and I'm more than happy to be part of this event and this journey together with the organization. Right, so please text your question in the private chat with me, and I will pass it to the speakers in a more anonymous way. All right, so I obviously don't want to take much time from today's speakers and their important and very useful presentations and discussions. So I would like to introduce today's speakers. Nina Gray, Annette Gray, who is the Executive Director and Associate Dean of Sciences for the ASRC, the Advanced Science Research Center at CUNY. Heliris Salas Ramirez, who's Assistant Medical Professor at the CUNY School of Medicine. Ms. Didi Mosleski, Senior Advisor of the President and Executive Director of the Foundation for City College. Nakem Stanley Mabelu, Associate Director of the City College Academy for Professional Preparation, Division of Science, Office for Student Support. So Ms. Stanley is someone that every student who I work with mentions, and they call her their science mother. So that tells a lot to begin with. It's actually the first time when I have the opportunity to meet you, Ms. Stanley. And definitely, last but definitely not least, Zipporah Trott, who's our president, Women in Science, CCNY Women in Science president. So lastly, I would like to introduce today's session moderator, who is Denise Moran. Denise is a very active member of our organization. She's this year's events coordinator, and she will moderate today's session. And so I would like to take this opportunity once more to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for sharing the resources with us and the entire CCNY community. And we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Maruna. So I think we are all introduced, and I think we can just jump right into our presentations. So the first person who is going to start is going to be Nina Annette Gray. So whenever you're ready, you can share a screen and you can start. And then after that, just for so we can get the ball rolling. After that will be Kaliris.
All right, thank you guys very much. Thank you, Maruna, for organizing this, Denise for moderating, and the entire CCNY WINS organization for putting this event together. I don't want to take up too much time because I want to hear all of the other speakers, and I'm very honored to be included in this group. And I'm happy to share what we're starting to do at the ASRC, what we've initiated. And I want to recognize that a lot of this is not possible without partners that we work with, particularly at the Graduate Center and also with the Office of Research, but really often with many, many different partners, including those at CCNY. So here's just a bullet list of the kinds of things I'm going to just briefly touch on. And if you have questions, you know, we can talk about them today, but also if you have specific questions for me, feel free at any time to email me. I'm happy to respond, to set up a call and talk with anyone. So I'm just going to jump right into it. We started a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee this summer, and I'm very excited about that. We have 12 members that represent our faculty, postdocs, students, and staff. It is 50% women, it is 50% people of color, and it's incredibly wonderful, the conversations that we are having together there, and that we're going to be bringing to the rest of the ASRC community and hopefully beyond as well. The 5 areas of work that we've started talking about include increasing transparency and accountability within the organization, building cultural awareness, engagement with the Harlem community. I will talk a little bit about things that we've already been doing there, but there's a strong desire and need to be more connected with our neighborhood. Professional development of students and postdocs, and particularly those who have a more challenging path or would like additional support than what's currently being offered. And the creation of STEM pathway programs, which could help those who are interested in STEM to make transitions from community college to senior college to graduate school to postdoc to faculty. And ideally, we would have something that would you know, cover that entire spectrum, but we're beginning from scratch. And so I'll touch a little bit on how we're thinking about how to start doing that. So I'll start with some of the things that we've been doing to engage in public outreach. A lot of that is centered around our illumination space, which is a facility here within the ASRC where we can, in non-COVID times, bring in high school students, middle school students, even college students to have conversations and do educational activities that help introduce and provide more depth around STEM education, and really introduces them to the world of research if they haven't already had that experience. It is also an educational experience for students and postdocs who are here at CUNY who would like to lead these kinds of discussions and groups with high school students and middle schoolers. It helps build confidence in communication, and it helps, I think, also in thinking about what are the gaps in knowledge that people have and how can I better address those. So I think it's really also a professional development activity for our students and postdocs, and anyone who's interested in potentially participating should feel free to reach out to us. What we've been doing during COVID times is virtual field trips, and that's been led by Kendra Kruger, who I will talk a little bit about here as well. Kendra is one of our staff members and is just very energetic and passionate about public outreach and STEM education, a scientist herself. And one of the things that she's done that's sort of emerged from the ASRC and from the illumination space is start what's called a citizen sensor program. So working with Ricardo Toledo Crow, they've developed the system. This is over here, a CO2 measurement device that they can like buy the parts and basically put together a kit to send to citizens so that they can get experience in building and designing the kit and programming the kit, and then using that to collect data in their own environment. And that was sort of the pilot project, was to develop this CO2 sensor, and they're now going to be expanding that to other kinds of sensors and other kinds of things, so that there's like this do-it-yourself science culture that we're building, and people can really easily access that. So that's something I'm really proud of Kendra for initiating. And if you visit the ASRC's YouTube channel, there's a video that's linked to there of Kendra explaining the project and the sensor in more detail. So one of the other things that we've been working on this past year is sort of targeted outreach with our students and our postdocs. So there's the whole sort of whole community, but there are special needs within individual groups. And one of the first things we did was sort of identify what a gap there is in addressing the postdoc community at CUNY. So we held a town hall in the spring, which was then immediately followed by the shutdown. But in the meantime, we have worked with the Office of Research at CUNY Central to set up a postdoc committee that includes these members, many of which I think are on the call today, who are getting together and creating ideas and reaching out to the postdoc community here at CUNY in order to help develop networking opportunities, professional development opportunities, and really help to inform what the needs are that are specific to postdocs that we can help to address. So some of the early things that they're going to be working on and we're going to be helping to support is we've already started to create a postdoc listserv, community survey to figure out what those needs are. And I think given a lot of the news over the last several months, also really focusing in on the problems of immigration. Our postdoc community is not alone in this, but is particularly sensitive to these issues. We have a lot of immigrants that are postdocs. It's probably, it's just incredible. It's wonderful, and we need to support that better within the current environment. We're also doing a similar thing for our graduate students. This was actually, I think what's wonderful about both of these is that there's a grassroots effort, that the students and the postdocs are coming to us saying what they need, and we're able to respond, which is also gratifying. But this was led by a graduate student in biochemistry, working with Kevin Gardner's lab, Roxana Azad, to create the ASRC Graduate Students League. And she created this wonderful logo, which I love. And so we've held a few events so far prior to the summer, which included conversations with me and Josh Brumberg, the Dean of the Graduate Center, around what are the resources that are available for people when they're working remotely. We also had a session on what the professional development resources are for graduate students. And so far we've been opening these up to everybody, not just ASRC graduate students. So we hope to continue these in the fall. We also do a lot of work for targeting undergraduates. One of those that's like the most organized is around the CSERP program. So we have 20 students come and do summer research at the ASRC every year. And this year It was a little unusual, of course, since they weren't really coming to the ASRC, but they were doing a lot of virtual projects, theory, programming, computation, but that was supplemented by a professional development webinar series that the Office of Research supported. And I think this is wonderful because it gives us all these great experiences and resources that we can build on to create more professional development activities throughout the year. One of the professional development series that we've initiated from scratch for this coming year is called our Science Communication Academy. So some of you may have seen that we had a fellows program that we had applications for. We had 50 applications for 2 science communication fellow slots, which is really exciting. They were amazing applicants. It's going to be very hard to narrow it down to just 2, but they're going to be working with us to develop this series more completely and really open it up to give everybody some experience and connection with things like publishing in scientific journals, and what is the editorial process like, and how do you communicate with editors? What are the best practices for public outreach and engagement, and working with the media, which I think are all really important skills and can sometimes be really difficult to get access to when you aren't a faculty member. So we're really trying to kind of open it up and make it more transparent for people well before they reach that stage. So that's kind of a quick overview of some things, and then I wanted to kind of, and which we can get into more in the Q&A, and I just want to kind of quickly give you a high-level view of what we're thinking about in terms of long-term planning for educational and professional development programs. And this is with the sort of view that there are so many science career paths out there now. The idea of the academic research being the main one is long dead. We all know that, and people who are here in STEM careers can go on to do so many different things. And in fact, I'm a huge advocate for that because I think the voice of scientists and the tools and skills that we learn as scientists are so important in the world today. And I think sharing that way of thinking, the way being analytical, questioning, and really being able to ask insightful and deep, meaningful questions, it's applicable anywhere in our world today. So with that in mind, we want to build scientists who have all of the tools and all of the confidence to go out in the world to use their expertise and knowledge for good. And this is sort of my own personal analysis of programs that work to do this, some of which are at CCNY or throughout CUNY. They really are holistic programs. A lot of programs that I've been involved with as a woman in science have been very focused on this blue level, which is the technical skills. But really, if you don't address all of these, those technical skills are going to be lost. And I think it begins with creating a foundation where people feel secure and supported. They have peers that they can look to for advice and suggestions, that they can feel like they're a part of the community. They need to build their intrapersonal confidence through professional skills, by having mentors that they can really rely on. And from there, add in the technical skills, and then branch out to build networks beyond the local community, because you have that confidence and you have that know-how to do that, and use that to build collaborations and use all of that in order to pursue careers, whether that's academic, industry, or otherwise. But this crowning glory, this crowning piece here really signifies that it's up to us as the programs to help establish those contacts as well. And it isn't just on the student or the postdoc or whoever to go figure that out all on their own. As people who've been in science for 10, 20 years, we have a network of our own, of scientists who've gone out into the world, and we need to be able to use those connections to help our students that are coming up to find jobs and to find out how to pursue their dreams and aspirations in careers. We're starting this in one program. So we last summer received a grant from the state, which is called the SensorCat. It's a Center for Advanced Technology. It's about building and designing novel sensors in both the biomedical market and in the environmental market, which I think everyone would agree are incredibly urgent needs. Also, from a scientific and technological perspective, fascinating to work on. And we're building that program to include educational courses, to include internships, and to partner all of that with startups and with industry so that those connections are already in place. And a lot of this is informed by what do employers need so that people are actually being prepared for the jobs that are out there. So that's a work in progress that's being developed, but I would check out our website this coming September, October for some more information on how these programs are being rolled out and developed. And with that, I'm just going to leave one more thing, which we've partnered with the Office of Research on, which is a virtual film screening. If you haven't seen this already, you can visit this website to register to watch Picture a Scientist, which really is going to, I think, be awesome. I haven't seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to it, and gives some insight into the challenges and difficulties that successful scientists have had to overcome. And I hope that everybody sort of has an opportunity to see that and take advantage of that. And with that, I will cede the floor to the other amazing speakers that we have today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nina. That was so amazing. And I really agree with you about how knowledge in STEM is something that is applicable in all aspects of life. And I 100% agree with that. So next is going to be Kaliris. And after that is going to be Dee Dee, then Miss Stanley, and then Zipporah. And we're going to take questions at the end. Okay, so continue to send your questions to Maruna, and they will all be answered at the end as best as they can be. So Kaliris, whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I know that I exist in a very isolated place, which is the CUNY School of Medicine. So I wanted to talk a little bit about how we need to change a little bit of our language from just talking about diversity and equality to being anti-racist. And so providing resources for you in terms of how do you really engage in the work. This is something that has been transformational for me as a person. I started about 5 years ago. Even though my whole life, I have been engaged in work to enhance women and underrepresented groups in STEM. As I was training, I was part of a pre-doctoral fellowship for diversity in neuroscience, then became part of the Alliance for Graduate Education and the Professoriate, and have always been funded through diversity initiatives. It wasn't until I was a faculty member that I really started thinking about policies and how institutions are really engaging in creating anti-racist spaces or creating spaces where we all belong. And so I thought that for the purposes of this talk, we can kind of push the envelope a little bit in terms of how we engage in the work. First, I wanted to talk about what it means to be anti-racist. I know the word has been thrown around quite a bit, particularly recently with everything happening with the national stress that we've had with all of these racist acts imposed on the Black community. If we look at the definition of racism, it really takes into account what a combination of power and privilege, and some folks add race to that because there is a racial hierarchy in terms of who are the people that actually have the power, the most power and privilege, which are mostly white men. Some people like Ibram Kendi would like to say that there is no such thing as not being racist. You're either a racist or you're anti-racist. So if racism means both racist action and inaction in the face of racism, then anti-racism means active participation in combating racism in all forms, which means that we have to engage in different exercises in order to counter some of the things that we've learned and we've been exposed to our whole lives. And there are different kinds of racism. So we engage in internalized racism. Those are the things that we've had to live with our whole lives, that we tell ourselves, that we convince ourselves. Those are cognitive schemas. As a neuroscientist, I have to use that word, and scripts that we have in our brains that make us engage with ourselves and tell ourselves specific things that may or may not be true. There's also interpersonal racism, and this is between individuals. So this is how we start playing things out. We've all heard of things like microaggressions or different comments that can be said to us that may seem to not come from an ill place, but they impact us in very specific ways, and they can be chronic to our health. And we can talk about that more later. We also live and exist in an institution, and each one of us every day see examples of what institutionalized racism is. And so within our institutions, there are different cultures, practices, and policies that impose white supremacy into how we exist in these different spaces. And although I love pyramids and charts and different ways that we present ourselves, we are embodying white supremacy when we're invoking some of those policies. And we do that very effectively within our institutions. And then there's systemic racism. And this is when all of these institutions and systems come together to produce racialized outcomes. And again, we're a product of that in everything that we live. The healthcare system, academic system, education, all of these systems at the end create this hierarchy where we continue to exist in spaces where some people have more privilege, more access than others. And so we have to consistently be fighting that in a very proactive space. So one of the first things that I challenge you to do is really thinking about what kind of biases you hold, right? So a lot of us can sometimes go through this world and we experience, see, and overtly hear some very explicit biases. So we're very explicit biases are things that we're consciously aware of, we consciously endorse both with our behavior and our language. And so we're taking an action that results for a specific reason and for a specific purpose. People can assess this, we co-sign on this consciously, and so we engage in these behaviors. Yes, some people are outwardly don't believe that there should be equity in this world. And so we see that, we know that, and we can predict their actions based on those behaviors. However, there's also unconscious mental processes that can also endorse some of these preconceived notions. And a lot of them bear some of these discrimination practices. And sometimes we may have a sense of how these things are happening, but other times we don't. But they can still be used to judge people's motivated behaviors. And so for several years now, there's been a group at Harvard that has been studying implicit biases and looking at implicit biases as well as explicit biases. You can go online and take these implicit bias tests. I can supply that link for you, but you can make these self-assessments for yourself. But what I find really interesting was a study that was published last year and looking at the differences between both explicit and implicit biases and how they've changed with time. So this group at Harvard has been able to use all of these different tests that people have been taking online and look at the data to see whether the way that we think and feel about very specific groups of people has changed with time. If we look at an explicit bias test, which sometimes is just basically just a racial attitudes test, what we've seen is that there have been changes in explicit attitudes with time. And so in terms of explicit biases, what we see is that there's been a rapid decrease in terms of individuals, those explicit biases that we have towards gay and lesbian individuals. And some things have been a little bit slower to change, like an explicit decrease of 15% of explicit bias towards overweight individuals. So body image is also a major issue. When it comes to implicit bias, we see also that there's been a reduced trend in how we hold implicit bias towards homosexual individuals, not as quick as explicit, so 33%. And then there's been a slow decrease in the explicit bias that we have towards darker skinned individuals. So focused on race. All of the other measures have not been rapidly changing or changing at all, which is distressful because if you go to this website, there's tons of different tests that individuals can take. So how do we engage with this work and how do we engage in this work effectively? So I really think that we need to challenge ourselves, and before we begin these conversations on diversity and equity, we really need to do some self-reflection and self-care. So I challenge you to engage in reading some of these books, right? So Ibram Kendi has gotten a lot of, we've noticed him a lot, and he's currently the director of the Anti-Racist Center at Boston University on how to be an anti-racist and consistently check your biases and also assess how you can engage in the work to actively counter all of these issues of racism. Now, some of us may be like, well, I exist in these spaces, I'm a person of color, and I know what this experience is like. But one of the things that we don't get proactively is how do white people engage in these spaces with us? And so I also challenge you to read some of the books like White Fragility and White Rage that really take into account both the sociological as well as the historical context of how white supremacy has engaged in our different communities. And it's not just about reading, it's about proactively changing those cognitive schemas that we have so impregnated in our brains. So using books, for example, the Racial Healing Handbook, or looking at people like Layla Saad, S-A-A-D, that have different exercises that you can engage in as you're investigating all of the different roots of all of the different racist patterns that we have in our brains and in our behaviors. And some of us at the CUNY School of Medicine have engaged in these exercises. So for example, there was a book club for using white fragility for our white faculty and staff, and they've engaged in deep conversations around some of this work. One thing that's really important is to find a place where you can have collective growth. And so here are some places where you can go to engage in workshops, to engage in conversations, town halls, being work groups that will help challenge some of those preconceived notions. People's Institute of Survival and Beyond does a 3-day workshop on undoing racism, and they really challenge a lot of these, again, cognitive schemas that we've created. It is a little pricey, but they do have some fellowships for students and postdocs, and maybe you can get support from your department to engage in this work. Another group that's been incredibly important, particularly in these times of COVID, is the People's Collective for Justice and Liberation, which is an Asian and Pacific Islander group, which really looks collectively at all of the societal and systemic racism that are experienced by all people of color. That's why it's called the People's Collective, because there's a combination of Black, Brown, Black, Indigenous, and people of color in this group. At the CUNY School of Medicine, we engaged in year-long workshops with the NYU Metro Center for Strategic Solutions. So every single student received a 6-hour workshop on becoming anti-racist, and every faculty member received a 4-hour workshop. And so these are active conversations that we're engaging with our community that are consistently challenging. And we were able to delineate within that space the 12 pillars of white supremacy and how we within our policies are invoking white supremacy so that we can change those policies to be more inclusive. Ever since COVID and the murder of George Floyd, there's been a group that has started called Academics for Black Lives. And they also have the historical context of the systemic and institutionalized racism that we've been living within as academics and what sorts of things we can do in order to change that. So I encourage you to go to that website. They also have a Twitter handle as well as an Instagram group that's consistently giving you little sound bites where you can counter some of your implicit bias. For support groups and peer mentoring groups for graduate students and postdocs, there's a new group called Unity. It's a virtual group, national group. There's a WhatsApp, there's virtual spaces so that you can engage in peer mentoring and also support for each other. And I don't want to discount other forms of social media. Twitter is a great place for you to get some insight and some knowledge on what's happening in academia. Hashtags like Black in the Ivory, Black and Neuro, Black and Chem, Black and STEM are really breaking down some of these stereotypes and really considering what inclusion should look like in these academic spaces. And then I will encourage you to engage in activism. So not everything has to be within our institutions, although we should be able to create these kinds of spaces for our students. And so there are different ways that you can engage in the work within your communities. So my first thing that I will task you with is to find a WO. Find someone that will hold you accountable in your work and in the space. There are different groups that you want to be involved in, especially those groups that are centering equity in the work. As students and postdocs and faculty, I encourage you to get involved in institutionalized committees that are able to challenge these institutional policies that create exclusive spaces. So at the CUNY School of Medicine, we have a Dean of Diversity, Dean Lynn Hernandez, that chairs, and I co-chair the Inclusive Excellence Council. And so we're actively trying to create anti-racist spaces within our institution. The president 2 years ago also formed a diversity work group that is informing his policies at CCNY. We also have pipeline programs that students can be involved in, just like Nina discussed, that bring in new faces, new perspectives into our programs. If you see that these spaces don't exist, create your own club or have your own group to continue to do the work. Create a book club yourself and read Ibram Kendi. There are also movements within your community. So one exercise that I've brought into the CUNY School of Medicine is the Black Lives Matter at Schools, which is a week-long events that are held across New York City that centers the 13 principles of the Black Lives Matter movement. And that has been great in terms of really creating inclusive spaces. We're taking into account not just Black lives, but also globalism, diversity, trans lives, queer lives, and everything in between. And so that's really helped us as faculty and students and as a community to engage in this conversation and really think about how education has created or has really impacted the way that we think about inclusion and equity. And so look for spaces that are consistently challenging this norm and are actively countering racism. So anti-racist and equitable spaces in order for you to be able to do that work. One of the things that I also do is I participate and train postdocs on how to write their diversity statements for different institutions, and also talk to my colleagues about how to be anti-racist in their pedagogical practices. So even though we're teaching science and biology, there are ways that we invoke white supremacy in those spaces. And so we have to challenge ourselves in terms of how we discuss the science with our students. Who are the people that we're putting in front of them and showing them that are the true scientists or the real scientists or the ones that have really contributed significantly to our innovative discoveries. So those are all ways to challenge these exclusive spaces, this exclusive work that we have in the STEM field. And so with that, I'll end, but I'll take questions when we're ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Caliris, and definitely thank you for adding that slide with the book recommendations. I think even as a Latina, I know I can continue to learn and continue to, you know, find like more resources to keep myself and the people around me educated. So thank you so much. And then, as I said before, the next person we have is going to be Didi, and then Enkem, and then Zipporah. And then, like I said, all questions will be taken at the end. So whenever you're ready, Didi, you can share your screen. Also, Didi, you are muted. So if you're talking to us.
Can I tell you, I've been doing Zooms for 5 months now and I still forget the mute button. So sorry about that. First of all, it's a pleasure being here with all of you. I'm super grateful to have been invited. It is extremely nice to be able to sit with my colleagues and my peers and students and faculty across the campus and have a conversation like this. So thank you. I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to show you, let's see if I do this right. What I wanted to show you is we've put together a resource package, but you know, the resource package for the college is why it's important is I don't think that quite often the college itself knows how awesome it is, right? We get in the habit of working, we get in the habit of our day-to-day, and if you're a student, you get in the habit of sort of moving from class to research project to home and back. And I just want to take a couple of minutes to walk you through why this college is so special, and then walk you through why it's so important to make sure you have resources available to you. So, you know, the last numbers that we used, we were just under 16,000 students, undergraduate and graduate students. This year we're a little bit less from our 2019 numbers, but we hover around 14 to 16,000 students every year. Our campus comes from across the world. I've been here 8 years. The very first thing I was told when I got here was that the campus represents over 108 languages spoken. At the time, it was 139 nations. Those numbers just go up every year. If any of you have ever read City Facts, you will know that of the students who respond to that survey, 81% of students identify as having been born somewhere outside of the United States, even if now they are a US citizen. And I think that's tremendous. You can talk about diversity, you can talk about inclusivity, but if you're not a place that acts on it, it's shallow, right? We are a campus that is nationally ranked. We have been ranked as a top college, as the most diverse college, as a top green campus. Our economic numbers, we produce over $1 billion, actually, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. We produce just under $2 billion a year to the downstate economy. That's our alumni, that's our working faculty, our working students, our working staff. It's the monies that we put back into our communities. It's the monies that we put back into our families. It's the monies that we put back into our children's growth. So this campus produces for the New York economy just about $2 billion a year. That's all of you guys. You know, the Alumni Association, our numbers hover, we think, at about 100,000 living alums. And I guarantee we're undercounting it. But that $2 billion isn't just alumni, it's all of you as well. We are nationally ranked. There's no place in the country doing better work on social mobility than City College. And that is current numbers. That's not the history of City College. It's not the, you know, the generations from the, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. That's your generation right now. It's the work happening every day here. So I think you have to sort of stop every now and then and sort of celebrate the college that you're at, because sometimes it's hard to remember, right? I'm going to, hold on one second, I'm going to bring up this page here, because the page that most people ask me about is how big is our foundation? What's the support that we offer to the college? You know, what do we do in the Office of Institutional Advancement and Communications? And I will tell you that we are almost to a person, either a City College graduate, a child of a City College graduate, or in my case, a parent of a City College graduate. So the work we do here is sort of driven by that. I take a little different approach in this office than my predecessors, primarily because I look different than any of my predecessors did. So that sets the stage, right? When I was hired here, I was told by my then director of the Colin Powell Center, who's now President Boudreaux, but was then Director Center, that he aspired to have the campus realize that we're an activist campus. So that means the work that I do in this office gets to be forward thinking. I spend a lot of time, my first couple of years in this office, explaining to people that they're wrong about things like open enrollment, for example. You don't get the college of today. You don't get that $2 billion in investment. You don't get #1 rankings without having opened the doors, exactly as the mission of the college expected us to in 1847. So what we do in this office is we communicate out about the college. We steward the financial future of the college. We engage alumni. We engage our Harlem community. We partner with organizations worldwide. in turn, that generates supports back to students, faculty, and staff. So we estimate we do a little over $5 million a year in scholarships, fellowships, awards, internships. We support approximately 400 internships across the college from every academic field you can imagine. We support every named scholarship you see in the campus is somehow supported by something done in this office. We support undergraduates, master's students, and graduate students. We do faculty stipends. We do staff stipends. We do things like building infrastructure. All that's kind of what the foundation does on a daily basis. The driving force behind this office is the work we do around the emergencies that come up for any cause. We spend probably about $1 million a year over that 5 million just on emergency support. So if someone has a crisis related to housing or a medical emergency or a tuition emergency, right, which comes up all the time. If you find yourself suddenly unemployed, there are ways that this office can be a resource. If you find yourself in need of mental health support, for example, there's a way that this office can resource you in partnership with the clinical psychology program, in partnership with the wellness center. The needs vary, and the ways in which people find their ways into this office is almost always through an advisor or a staff member or a faculty member. And once you're here, part of our job is to figure out what the bigger need is. So, you know, I'll share this around afterwards. We put together a list of some of the more, I guess, more well-recognized scholarships across the campus. But I have to tell you, there are 1,000 scholarships that live within the foundation that range from everything from, you know, a student interested in community service to a student who has a research project to someone who wants to study abroad. And if you're not talking with your advisors, if you're not talking with your faculty, if you're not talking with the, you know, the teams in the dean's offices, you're missing out on ways the college can be resourcing you. So, you know, if you're not best friends with your advisor, start to think that way. If you're not talking, if you're an athlete and you're not talking to your coaches, you're missing out on ways the college can help you. So part of what this office does every year is we remind people that there's all these pathways to help you, not just through graduation, but help you successfully launch a career or a post-academic career. We are a team in here. We spend a lot of time thinking about, skip ahead. We spend a lot of time thinking about how to ensure that things that a student is eligible for actually gets to a student. So in my office, I've got 2 people, Yesenia and Vicky, who manage the entirety of the scholarship portfolio for the foundation. Both are City College graduates. Both came into this office either having been an intern somewhere else on campus or having run something on campus. And so their #1 job is to you know, be available all the time to answer questions. If you are a Colin Powell School student, in addition to the ways in which this office helps, Colin Powell School also has an emergency fund specific to majors in the Colin Powell School. Part of why we expanded that program originally was we had a donor who said, you know, I love the idea of traditional scholarships. I love the idea of, you know, program support, but what I want is I want a student who has an emergency need to be able to walk into the dean's office and get a resource that doesn't require them to jump through hoops. That was his exact phrasing. So all of the emergency scholarships you run on campus is modeled after what that donor said to me 8 years ago. Student affairs, also available to everyone. They provide services around mental health. They provide services around vouchers related to housing, vouchers related to food, cash grants when needed. They do direct referrals to counseling. They do direct referrals to student health needs. If you have any kind of thing that feels like the right answer is to have someone come and sort of help you walk through a problem, student affairs is the right place to go. They've got wonderful trained professionals who, even during COVID, very early on in March, moved everything to being remote, have seen themselves increase their visits with students, began really interesting projects to sort of engage people who were home but wanted a base at the campus. So letter writing, book clubs. They organized a weekly session for people who were graduating, so they'd have a touch point back with the campus, even as they were in their home communities, wherever their home communities were. So if you haven't had a reason or thought you hadn't had a reason to reach out to our wellness center, the team there is, they're top notch, and they're constantly thinking about how they can support the campus, in particular, how they can support students. Give me 1 second. So Caliris mentioned the President's Workforce on Diversity and Inclusion. And I put this in here because, you know, we did a complete overhaul of our Chief Diversity Office in terms of the work that they do and the scope of work that they do. There are confidential counselors in an office. If you aren't sure if something you've heard or experienced rises to the occasion of an actual complaint, for example, Diana Cuso's office has someone who's dedicated to taking confidential communications and working with you. Diana Cuso herself is our Chief Diversity Officer. She spends a lot of time imagining a college that adheres to various regulations, but her main job is to listen to people. You know, her door is open 24/7, even as she's remote. Tamara Smalling, she's the one person on campus who, as she's walking through the hiring process for the college, reminds us every step of the way to be thoughtful and to be inclusive and to be engaging and to be sort of wide ranging in who we're recruiting. So if you haven't had a reason to talk to this office, they are eager to be a campus resource. This is the working group on diversity and inclusion. The next page, I have a list of who's a member, but it's open to students, staff, and faculty, part-time or full-time, it doesn't matter. And they're broken up into subgroups to think about the college and the college of the future. Not just the things we want to fix today, but the college we want to give to the next generations of students and faculty and staff. So if you have a concern that something is missing on campus, if you have, you know, imagined that someone hasn't thought about something that's urgent, if someone wanted to say, let's say Clara said to us, you know, I really want to inspire some community involvement. This is a great group to go to because that's what they're working on, right? If as Nina was talking earlier about community development, this is the group that's thinking about that. They're representative of every classification of employment across the campus. So that means you've got your facilities crews talking with your engineers, talking with your teachers, talking with your staff, talking with students, and talking with members outside of their universe to sort of better the college. So this is a group that will continue. It's not a finite work, piece of work they're doing. They're formally embedded into a conversation with the president's office. So if you're not engaged and want to be, absolutely get engaged. I think one of our colleagues on the call today, Joanna Urena, is, I think she's on with us now. She's the working group co-chair. Reach out to her. She is thrilled to be working with people. Hold on, I'm gonna leave up here. This is the last page I'll put up here, but there's some other things that the college does that I think lots of people kind of forget about. We sometimes forget that we have a food pantry. The food pantry, I will tell you that I read a quote that if you're not getting in trouble, you're not doing your job. And 4 years ago, we were, actually longer than that, we wanted to roll out a food pantry. And the president at the time was interim president. We asked if we could host a food pantry on campus and we were told no. And then it dawned on us that he was president, so sure we could, right? So we opened the pantry, and about 1.5 years ago, we acquired a bigger space, which allowed us to triple the space that we could work out of. It's completely volunteer. We work with NIPERC students, we work with a number of other groups on campus to sort of staff it, but it's open to anyone across the campus, so faculty, staff, students. During COVID, we expanded to anybody in the CUNY system. So if you're a member of a CUNY household, you can come to the pantry. Complete honor system. We don't have, we used to run anonymous days, and then people kept saying they didn't want anonymous days. We would do bags for people ahead of time. They said no, they liked the idea of going to the pantry and being there. Early on, we learned that the exact same people who were using the pantry to take things were also donating things to the pantry. So the circle kind of continued all the time. We decided about a year ago that we'd branch out to do counseling around benefits that the city has that people don't know about. So benefits for DACA students, benefits for adults, benefits for working people, benefits for students. And so we do food counseling, we do mental health counseling, we do referrals to housing agencies. All of it's run out of the foundation. And if someone has a question, I guarantee you there's not a person on campus that doesn't have my cell phone. Call me, text me, email me, we'll answer the questions. From that pantry, we decided that the very next step would be fresh food on campus, which is how the community gardens started. Working group with Spitzer, with CSOM, with the campus at large. There are student volunteers, there are faculty volunteers. There's 2 plots just for a teaching garden, and there's 2 plots that return food back to the campus food pantry. You know, there's all these things that we were trying to do. We were trying to sort of bridge out, in, and in, out. We have a partnership with the Appalachian Mountain Club that takes a number of students every year, and you know, they're hiking Mount Washington, they're working in Costa Rica, they're doing all these initiatives, but they're doing it as City College students. So I guess, you know, I have my timer here, so I would stick to a time. I think the takeaway from this is, as all of you imagine what this college should look like, this is the office that you should come to, because if we can't figure out how to help expand the word, you know, communicate out, fund a project, they wither, right? And part of our work here, all of us here today, is to make sure that whatever we're doing today is available 10, 20 years from now, and bigger. So I want to say thank you. I will share this PowerPoint around because there's a number of links for resources and things like that. Happy to answer questions, and really, really grateful for this. So thanks, guys. Right.
Thank you so much. That was so, I don't even know that. There were so many resources that I didn't even know were available through your office. And it just like, it put me into like, I started thinking, okay, like how can I start dividing my time so I can also volunteer for these things? So I'll definitely be reaching out to you. So the next person we're gonna have present is my science mom, Miss Enkem. So she can start sharing her screen. After that is going to be Zipporah, and then you guys can continue to filter your questions to Maruna, and we'll get to most of them as much as possible. So Miss Stanley, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Denise Moran. And that was a very wonderful introduction. I don't know, I feel so touched. I have to thank the wings, especially Maruna and Tispora, who got me involved in this. I want to thank all the speakers before me. It's like everything that I'm about to say, you guys already touched up on it. But I will focus my talk on the undergraduate student because sometimes we have graduate students that they are lost, they don't know what to do. So I would want to begin my little presentation by focusing on, bringing us back to what the mission of the college is all about. City College mission has been to produce students who are well-rounded. According to our mission, it has been to its legacy of access, opportunity, and transformation. And CCNY as diverse, dynamic, and broad visionary at this city itself. And this is true to what Didi just mentioned about where our students are from. And there's no class that comes in that lacks diversity. So that's what makes City College special. So now, my focus is on under what we do in the Division of Science now to make sure that the mission of this college is fulfilled. In the Division of Science, our goal is to provide the support and opportunities that students need to achieve their career goal not only just achieving their career goal, we want our students to be ahead, to be the leader in their field. So as a result of this, for us to do this, there's so many things that we offer students in Division of Science. I have academic support. I have advising here as the first one, but I'm going to leave it and come back to it because this is big part of student support at City College. And Didi also mentioned it, and Nina, everybody touched up on how it's good to have connected to advisors. There's no way you can survive at college without having good advising. It's a key component. In order for students to succeed, our students come from various backgrounds. Some of them are first generation, even though they know what they need to do, they're having some help in getting where they need to go. So we provide tutoring. This is to support students who are in various classes and math included. We also provide our students with peer mentoring. And I would like to say in the mentoring, we have different levels of mentoring. Almost every speaker have mentioned how it's good to be connected and have a mentor. In Division of Science, we start our mentoring from the peer level. Once student comes into Division of Science, we want to connect them to students who've been advanced, who've been at City College, who can help them navigate, share their experiences to make them comfortable or welcome to the college community, and most especially to the Division of Science. We have faculty mentoring. We as students are being mentored by faculty members. We also have alumni mentoring. I would say more about on this because Didi mentioned how, the development office, they bring in money. A lot of our donors are our City College alumni. But sometimes we have alumni who are already in their field, but they cannot donate money. But I step back and I say, there's something that they can give back to. They can mentor the student, they can tell them how to navigate, they can help them prepare for interviews, prepare their applications. So alumni play a big role in mentoring our students, especially when they come to senior year, they're trying to, okay, how can I go about applying? How can I get certain jobs? So we have students in various fields who can help. We also provide career seminars to students. A lot of students come to college. Yes, they know they want to be in college, but they still don't have an idea what they wanted to do. So we bring in people from various organizations, various groups, various fields to talk to students about different careers and what they should be to prepare themselves for this career. In doing this, we have to, one thing that we need to specify here is sometimes just getting a college degree doesn't guarantee you a job. In these days of job competition and everything, we need to provide you the skills and everything that you need. So that you can be very competitive once you get to the point of applying. Another thing that we provide to support the student to create that environment where they can practice, where they can grow, where they can support each other is research presentations. A lot of our students are in research, one way or the other, whether it's summer program, academic, study abroad. But we need to create that avenue where they will come and present their research and practice what they know. We're energizing each other to be able to grow in their careers. We provide we support students to go on conferences, both national, international, and also on campus. On campus, we start them from, we do our presentation in CCAP. There's each department have different presentations that they also do. So we provide students with a praise office, DDL. Sometimes we have reached out to you, and thank you office so much for doing that. That sometimes we have students who are not in programs, but they're doing so much, and we want them to grow, to build their resumes, to make that connection with the people outside the college. So conference is a big way for them to do this. And sometimes it creates a problem on how students get paid to go. Some conferences provide funding, but some don't. So DD's office has been very good, and also department in providing students the support, the money to go, the financial support to go to these conferences. There's also scholarship. There's departmental scholarship, there's city college scholarship. There's also stipends that students can get depending on the program that they belong to. And there's also grants. Some program provides them grants. When I talk about the program, I'll specify which ones. Then in our division, we also provide summer program for entry freshmen. This is a way we have students ranging from Macaulay honors, we have 6 students, we have regular students. Everybody who is coming into the STEM program at City College is eligible to participate in this program. This program is where we emphasize problem-solving skills that they need, collaboration and team effort, presentation skills, a lot of things. And they do, we use this program also to provide jobs for our higher level students, like seniors and juniors or current graduates, where they mentor and they're team leaders for the students. So this is another way of us, for them enriching themselves and also helping the new student. There's a new, this is the peer connector. This is in collaboration with the School of Engineering under Dr. Baba. Peer connectors, they are, one can see them as mentors, but they are not. These are people, we have some advanced students who are put in a class with a faculty that the student in the class can talk to share their knowledge. These are people who have taken the class. So they are assigned to class to help the student to navigate this, especially the hard classes in science and math. We also put in place what we call the early alerts. This is where we focus because we found that some students, when you reach out to them early and bring them in for advising, from tutoring, and to find any other help to them, you see there are other things that is going on. When they took the exam, once they have the exam, there is a bar if they don't do so well that they get referred to see an advisor right away. So going back to the advising, I left this because this is like the centerpiece, the glue that holds everything together, because we believe heavily in advising. Once students get proper advisement, a lot can go on from there. You can find out what their interests are. You can find out other sources that you can help the student to flourish as a college student. So advising is not just academic. It's about career. We help students. Sometimes they are having difficulty navigating or helping them find out where their strengths are. So there's a whole lot of things that advising does for the student. And it's very imperative that even beyond graduation, because sometimes things are available, your advisor is connected to almost all the offices and almost all the departments in the division, in the school. So they have the information that you may not have time to. But until you reach out to them, then you know they'll direct you in the right place. So it's always good to don't think, oh, I don't need any, I already know classes to take. There's other things. An advisor may know a program that is very suitable to you, depending on your career goal. So you get so much from your advisement. They can help you with recommendation if you're applying for any program. So advising, I cannot, overstate the importance of advising and good advising for that. And I tell you, at City College, we do have good advising. Then there's program at City College that sometimes students may not know, which you also get from when you go to advising. I know we send broadcasts, even us, the faculty and staff, we get bombarded with so many emails that we don't know. But when you get connected, an advisor can send you your program that they think that you're suitable for. Some of these programs, we have the partnership with Memorial Sloan Kettering. This is an amazing program because it gives students opportunity to have access to Memorial Sloan Kettering Institute to do research. This summer, we have over 15 students who are accepted into the program. Unfortunately, COVID hits, so a lot of things have to be redesigned, but amazingly, some of the tracks in the program were able to move their project online. That we have students who are working on the project right now, and they will be presenting their project to us at City College on September 4th. This is a program head by Dr. Hubbard. We also have the MAC program, which is the director is Dr. Levin, and Denise Moran happened to be part of this program. And so this is another program that not only provides students the opportunity to do research, and let me just mention, the MSK is supports them with stipend, and so is MAC student. And MAC supports students all year round. MSK is just for the summer. So it's a very good program for students who are hoping to have a career in research. So it provides them that opportunity and to travel to present their work. We have City College CCAP program, which I'm part of. So I'll come back to say a little bit about my CCAP. We have the pre-medical program for all the students who are interested or think they'll be interested in medicine, veterinary medicine, dentistry, even some orthopedic schools. So pre-med program is a program it's open to everybody at City College who intend to go to medical school. It's not about people in science. We have students who are in psychology major, we have theater majors, we have English majors who are pre-med. So pre-med is a program that brings everything together. Make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing to make you a strong candidate for medical school. So we encourage every student to get in touch with the pre-medical program if they're thinking about getting into the program. It's always good to get in touch on time and not to wait till it's, you are about to graduate, because then it becomes difficult to kind of put together your package. There's another research and create that also provide summer program research opportunities for students at City College. This is also funded with stipend for students who are eligible. And we have IRE summer programs. Unfortunately, this summer, some of them are not able to hold. We also have recruitment and mentoring in mathematics program. I just want to say a little bit more about this program. Sometimes students, when they come, especially math students, they don't think that there's something that they can do research in math. And I'm amazed anytime that I hear math students like, oh, I'm math, there's no research for me. There's so much going on at math department at City College. And you have to get involved again with your advisor. You have to get involved with your mentor or with your faculty. They know all about these things. I always tell anybody who is in math, there's once, I don't know whether he's here, Jason Radman. He is a great resource for math students. So I encourage anybody who is interested in math to reach out to him, or even go to each department website to get the information. There's a wealth of information on each department on the services that they provide. I cannot put all of them here, but the more you get connected with us and we have the conversation, then we can be able to channel you in the right direction. Now, let me talk a little bit about CCAP program. CCAP program is kind of the hub. A lot of these things that I've been mentioning is being done from the CCAP office. However, in the program, for you student to be in the program, you have to be either minority or economically disadvantaged. CCAP, we don't turn people off, but we do provide our services to every student who is in City College. Our tutoring is open to everybody. We do one of the things that we should do more is community building, because as we know, a lot of our students are commuters. So we try to do something, do an activity that bring them close to develop other things and other skills, and also to relax. And I'll mention, in doing this, we utilize our students, and I'll talk a little bit about our advisory board, which also Denise is also part of it. And we do the peer mentoring. We do mentoring with our alumni, where we match students with the alumni who are in the fields that they wanted to be, and they can help them navigate. We also provide a stipend for students who are doing research, who cannot accept be eligible to get funding from other sources. So this is just let's say a gallery of some of the things that we do as in the Division of Science, especially in the CCAP program. We have our poster presentation. This is the President Boudreaux, who's been to our several CCAP events. We have creative arts, where student exhibit. Believe it or not, our city college is well talented in the sciences. Not only that, but they're also very creative. So we provide avenue for them to bring out their creativities. We do career workshop from different, bringing people to talk to them in career seminars. We also partner with a lot of groups and programs in City College. One of them is Zone. I can't say how much Zone has benefited our students. It has made our students to become entrepreneurs. A couple of our students, not couple, a lot of our students have been through Zone service learning. We are students and empowered to go out and find out, be a community advocate, find out what issues are going on in the community and how to go about to solve them. This picture right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Sorry. It's a picture of an organization that recognized one of our students. So now moving forward to we help students, but then how do students get involved? It's not the information to them. They can also get involved in different ways. There's math clubs. In math department, they also have Association for Women in Mathematics. I think they also accept males in this organization school. There's Math Alliance, which is more New York City wide, but a lot of our city college are involved in making this happen. We have a very active biology lab. Thanks to Christine Kusk, I think is online here, who's making sure that the biology department and the students are well informed with what is going on and opportunities. We have in chemistry, the Baskerville Chemical Society, and the American Chemical Association. There's also Physics Club in CCNY, and they're part of the Society of Physics, which is a national organization. Inside Division of Science, we have the Division of Science Student Council. This group is a group of men come together with staffs and students to find out how to make sure that the students in the Division of Science are well served in various areas. There's students from each department that represent their major, so that way every voice is heard and every major is catered for. There's a planetarium. Unfortunately, it's closed right now because of the COVID. And then we have our CCAP advisory board. I cannot emphasize how the leadership role the CCAP advisory board has played in making sure that City College students and CCNY, most especially CCAP students, are well cared for. I work closely with these students to make sure that they execute a lot of things. During this COVID, they were able to put a visual game during midterm, just for them to come and play games online and relax. So this is a very, very, these are my support system in Division of Science. So I just want people to know that you're not alone. Nobody can do this in college, whether you are in science or liberal arts or any part. There's always somebody there support for you. You have to seek it out. You have to look for it, and you have to accept the advice and help when needed. We all have to pull each other. It's a cause going to fall apart. And every student, whether mentoring, wants to go ahead, we pull each other up. The faculty are pulling their PhD student, the PhD are pulling the undergrad. So it's a good network that we have at City College. And we are doing all this because Our goal is to get you to graduation, and we are all out in every capacity to make sure that you get to the graduation. I just want to leave with, this is one of the artwork, but from one of our CCAP students doing the creative expression art, and it says, it's not where you start, it's where you end. So I'd like to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity, and I would like to thank my beloved science, most especially my CCAP student. You know, you can reach me anytime, day or night. I'm here for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Stanley. I loved your presentation, and I mean, I am in the half of the stuff that you were mentioning, and it's really true about advising being so important, because without Ms. Stanley, I don't know where I would be right now. Ms. Stanley has gotten me through so much and has put me onto so many programs and things that I didn't even know were on campus. So thank you so much, Ms. Stanley. City College is so lucky to have you. So we don't have much time left, so we're gonna try to get as quickly as possible through this. So the next person is gonna be Zipporah, the president of CCNY Wins, last but not least. And she's gonna talk to you about some resources that we have as an organization. And then we can get to questions.
Hi guys, like Denise said, we're a little short on time, so I'm sorry if I go fast or run through anything. You can always reach out to us and I can go over it more slowly. So just to start off, I just wanted to reiterate what WINS's mission is, and that's to increase awareness about the status of women in science and to advocate for equality within the scientific community. And so we have several events, a mentoring program, and community discussions to try and promote equality. Just want to give a quick shout out to our board. I'm not going to go through this because of time, but everyone on this board worked really hard for this event and all our events and planning for the upcoming year. So as I mentioned, we like to have events like we have right now. And so those events include professional development workshops, panel discussions, including our Women Making History panel, which there's a photo of in the top that Cleary's was a part of last year, and then the bottom was this year's when it went virtual. We have networking events, we have cookies and chats, aka power hours with visiting professors, where we just have a small discussion kind of about how the professors got to where they are, less science, more scientific journey. And we also have our mentoring program and its big kickoff event, which you can see in the bottom photo. Oh, and this photo is of one of the cookies and chats with a visiting professor. So one of our biggest programs is our mentoring program. It's been going on for several years now, and there have been many, many matches. And so the goal of the program is to provide encouragement, guidance, and support to those interested in a career in science. And to do that, we try to set people up in small groups or pairs whenever possible with people who are in their field of interest. Everyone's welcome, all genders are welcome, and this program does encompass undergraduates, graduate students, postdocs, and faculty to serve as mentors and mentees. And keep an eye out because the applications for this program will be open probably in September, hopefully starting early October. One thing that we just thought was super important to mention is that we as an organization have been fighting for equality on our campus, and one of our biggest pushes have been for a lactation room in every building on campus. And this has been spearheaded by Miss Christine Klesko-Stefano and Dr. Sruti Paturi, who was the previous event coordinator, who they have both dedicated so much time and effort into pushing for this. And just so everybody knows, there has been a lot of headway made, and it's still in the works, but we're getting closer. And something exciting that we are starting for the upcoming year is trying to get an outreach program to kind of expand our reach from within City College to also outside. And so we want to do this with a two-part program of stories in STEM, where you can talk to high school students and have successful professionals and students talk to them about what it's like to pursue a career in science and kind of give them a feel for what that really means versus just the textbook image of what a scientist is. And we hope to do some outreach within the Harlem community. Again, to try and go to schools, however possible, when it's safe, or virtually, to do some outreach. And because this program's starting and we want to give them real pictures, everybody at this meeting and within the City College community is invited to get involved and join the program as somebody to go speak to these students. And you can do that by emailing our events coordinator, Denise. The email's on bottom. Hopefully someone can write it in the chat so we can get a copy and paste going. And yeah. And then just please, if you have any questions, concerns, ideas, or you want to get more involved, you can connect with us via email or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, and we're working on getting a LinkedIn so we can have the community on that platform as well. And yeah, keep an eye out for some amazing events coming up this next year and our mentoring program.
I was just putting in my my email so you guys can reach out to me if you guys have any questions about the outreach program. But I'm gonna let Maruna go forward with the questions.
Thank you so much, Tipora. Thank you, each and every single one of you. We are running. I'm sorry. We are running towards the end of our session, and so maybe we have time for one or two questions, which I will ask quickly. Since someone was asking about the physics department and about the possibilities to do research in the physics department, and about the fact that there is no a woman of color that seems to do research at the physics department. So how would they look for a research in that department, and what to do about this? What is the plan, if anyone has any suggestions?
Okay, I'll take that. This is in Cam. What I would suggest is first,
Miss Stanley, your internet.
The faculty are,
sorry, your internet was a little bit breaking off, but you're good now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're good.
The first thing that I always tell students is to find out more about what the research is, find out what's their interest. Then go on the website, go on different faculties and look and see if what they're working on is what will be of interest to you. Because to be honest, you don't want to just get because, oh, this is a faculty of color, and then you jump into a project that is not going to engage you, that is not going to be of interest. You will not be able to succeed in that project. So the first thing is to find out the project that you like, and then you can email the professor and reach out to them and then talk to them and see if they'll have room in their labs, okay?
That is an amazing suggestion. Thank you very much. What we will do now is we have a list of questions. So in order to make sure each and every one of them are answered, we will make sure we put together a list. We will run it by all the speakers to make sure they will answer in the best and to their best of their knowledge, and we will upload it as well as we will do with the recording online. So I would like to take this opportunity again to thank every single one of you for participating. This was very inspiring, and this is definitely the purpose of this presentation was to have a list of resources. And as Didi said, and pretty much all of you, we don't know how amazing this college is, and that is the reason why I am very happy that this happened, and I'm very happy with all the resources you presented. And once again, I would thank you for your participation and the time you spent to share this with us. We will be in touch for sure. Thank you everyone who registered and participated, and continue to send us your questions. We will make sure you answer all of them. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Denise, for moderating the session, and stay safe.
Thank you everybody. Thank you for coming. And thank you to our speakers, of course.
Thank you.
That was so amazing. I'm about to cry.
That was really well.
That
You did so good.
Woo! My voice at the end, like what on earth? Like literally, I thought I'm gonna choke. I
Needed water. That's
yeah,
nerve.
but I have water here. Like the minute I started talking, you know how like when you inhaled, wow.
Can you stop the recording?
all right.
I will anyhow. I will
Well, just because